to the Drew Sutton Leadership Show, lighting the way with real leaders, real stories, and real impact. Because when leaders stop growing, the darkness wins. All right, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. Today, we're going to be answering the question, in a world of AI, where AI makes everything cheap and disposable, what's the most important thing you can do as an expert to actually stand out and matter? To answer that question, we have Michael DeLon. He is the credibility coach and president of Paperback Expert, helping business owners turn their ideas into best-selling books without writing a word. He helps experts cut through the noise, build authority, and turn their message into clients and revenue. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, Drew, thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited to be here. Can't wait. And it's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, I'm so all right. So here's what I'm excited about. I've been in the coaching world for like hardcore 2 years. Like this is my full-time gig.
Yep.
I've been to the conferences. You've been to the conferences. There's a lot of people that show up to those conferences. Everything from, hardcore engineering to Reiki healing to, and there's a lot of people shilling stuff.
Yeah.
But you and I met at this really cool dinner. It was a philanthropy dinner. A friend of ours put it on. And we connected and I got to spend about an hour with you. And I was like, oh my goodness, this guy is the real deal. And he does something super important that I think most people need. So what does Gandhi, Hitler, and Moses have in common? They wrote a bunch of stuff down, right? If you want to change the world, it's not enough to be a good person. It's not enough to be the best in your business. You got to write it down. Manifestos are what change the world. The most addictive thing, the most pernicious thing, the best thing that can possibly happen to you is for an idea to take root and understand it. And that's why I wanted you on the show today. We're going to talk the most important thing we can do in a world full of AI. We're falling off this AI trust cliff because AI can write anything, but we needed to share a message. So before we get into that, let's talk you. Tell me about how you got out of prison.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a great story. So this whole business of mine, Paperback Expert, started when I escaped from prison, and it wasn't a literal prison, Drew. Okay, it was an emotional prison. I had been in a ministry to families for about a decade, and before that, I spent about a decade in Christian radio, sales, and marketing, and that's where I learned how to do marketing as a small business owner. God led us to a family ministry in Little Rock, Arkansas. Climbed the corporate ladder, and everything was great until they started going through corporate reorganizations. Remember those? So the third reorganizational chart rolled out, and my name's no longer on the leadership team. And so I got stuck in a job for 2 years that I hated. It just sucked me dry. Finally said, God, I got to get out of this thing. I escaped from prison. I left the ministry, started a marketing consulting firm in Little Rock, Arkansas, where I'd come out to people like you and say, I can help you grow your business, Drew. And we'd meet and you'd say, Michael, everything sounds great. Tell me, who else have you helped? And I'd say, well, I've been building marriages and families at Family Life. And you would say, Michael, that is so honorable. Way to go. Look at the time. I do have another meeting coming up. Can we reschedule? And buddy, you would usher me out the door because you saw me as a ministry guy, not a marketing guy.
Yes, 100%.
So
100%.
after a few weeks of not getting any clients, I said, okay, I got to fix this. So I went to my church. I prayed one day. We're walking the hallways. And I said, God, how do I help Drew? And he said, Michael, take all your ideas, put them into a book. And so I spent the next few weeks and months actually writing my book and figuring it all out. And I published my book on marketing back in 2013. Then I'd set an appointment with you, Drew. I'd mail a copy of my book to you. And I'd walk into our office a week later, and there it was. My book was on your desk, dog-eared, highlighted, underlined. You read my book. And in that meeting, Drew, you'd say, hey, Michael, in your book, you said, and you'd quote something that I wrote in my book. And you'd say, how do you help me do that? And you'd hire me. And I started gaining clients. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. Why don't business owners write books? Well, it's really challenging, Drew, to write a book. There's a whole lot more involved than just getting your thoughts out, right? And so I went back to church and I built an entire system that eliminates all of the hurdles and barriers of creating a book. And I created our Speak to Write process where we help entrepreneurs create a book without writing a word so we can teach them how to use it to gain clients. So that's my escape from prison story.
No, I love it. I love it. So many things about that. The one of the things I most love about it is that you're so open about your faith in that. I don't think I've met a coach that, or a consultant that steps out there and says, I really want to take from my clients. I mean, I've met a couple, but they don't stay in business very long, and the clients that they get are generally, it's not a world anyone wants to be in. You started out with saying, I want to serve my clients. God, help me figure out how I can serve and bless my clients. And that was before you got into business. That was, business, right? That was when you were in ministry. How can I serve and help people on the most important relationship of their possible lives, which is their spouses and their kids?
That's right.
And then you said, okay, how do I bring that knowledge and that wisdom to the second most important category of their life, which is their business, where they make money, where they explore their passions and they develop their professions, and they provide for all the people that they love. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Okay. So the other thing I like about this is that you did this, this is like the dirtiest sales secret in the book. So if you're listening, lean in here, ready. The best way to show somebody that you can help them is to actually help them.
Absolutely. It's shocking, isn't it?
Imagine. I think that people like to sell information. Actually, there's a lot of information sellers who sell information. But people need implementation.
Yes.
So I think people don't write a book because they're afraid to write a book, because they're like, well, if I give away all my secrets, then what am I going to do for people? You're going to do the work. Every business owner I know says, yes, I understand. I have books here. I have books here. I have books here. I have books. What I need is a guide to walk beside me and help me figure that. And that's why I like your, what was the name of it? You said speak to write.
Speak to write. Yeah.
Perfect. Talk to me about speak to write.
Yeah. So Drew, every business owner I've talked to, they all want to be an author, right? But none of them want to write a book. There is nothing worse than staring at your computer going, what should I say? Right? Or the horrific process of what I call self-editing, where you're at your computer, you're typing and you stop, and you go, no, that doesn't sound right. And you back up. Right? That kills you. But you are a communicator. You're an expert at what you do, and you can talk about this all day long. So what we do is I've got a staff of 29 people. Okay. I've got 10 professional writers. So we match you, Drew, with one of my writers who just interviews you on Zoom. We just have conversations like this. We ask questions to build the outline for your book. And then we say, okay, Drew, talk to us about culture in business. And why is culture and the alignment of people so important?
Yeah.
And we shut up and you start talking. We capture your tone, your message, your voice. And then we craft it into your book. You get to approve everything. We're just doing all the hard work. So that's speak to write. And that's how we help you create a book without writing a word in less than 24 hours of your time, because you're communicating, which is a lot faster than typing.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I'm going to agitate the problem a little bit here, because I think all of us, if you're in the coaching, you're in the speaking, you're writing business, and frankly, if you run a business, right? If you're in the roofing business, if you're in the tax business, you have stuff in your head that needs to be unspooled into a consistent way, so that the novice, that's why they're buying you, because they're the novice right? Is so that the novice can understand what you're going to do for them and see what their life is going to be like without that. Right. I'm going to just pick on the difficulty of writing a book. I mean, if you sit down and you put together a social media campaign, all right, for the next 6 months, for me, I have a new project called Jubilee Capital coming out. It's a culmination of my consulting work and then my business work. I'm going to start buying small businesses. Very excited about it.
Love it.
Yeah. And so that needs a book. Okay. What is my book supposed to do? Am I writing a how-to book? Am I writing a manifesto book? Am I writing a moral awakening book? There's lots of types of messages that have to be put together. And it can be exhausting, even if you have a clear framework. And I'll be honest, most people have a clear, a frame mess, maybe a frame not a framework.
A frame relax.
Yeah, a frame relax. Oh, I like that even better. So most people have a frame relax, but they don't have a framework. Right. So Michael's gonna be able to help you with that. And then his team, who is professional writers, is what they do for a living. They're gonna help you put that into the right message category, the right type of book, so that it works and it really serves your clients.
Yeah.
Tell me your favorite story about somebody that you've done this for.
Okay. And I'm glad you asked that, because here's one of my marketing philosophies, probably my primary one, right? Drew, people buy who you are more than what you do.
Yep.
Okay. Every business owner, coach, consultant, doesn't matter, has a story to tell that they're not telling because they can't see it or how that's going to connect to their audience. Okay.
Yep.
Way back when this was early, probably the first couple, 3 years of our business. One of my favorite stories. I had a guy come to me back in Little Rock. He was a home inspector. Okay. Do you remember the guy's name who inspected your house when you bought it? Yeah, probably not.
No.
Yeah,
no, not at all.
And how did you choose him, right? Your realtor said, well, just
Realtor is like, I got a guy. Yep,
there's a lot of money in that business. It's very competitive, actually. So this guy comes to me and says, I want to do something. I want to be a best-selling author. I said, great. So I got his story. I said, Chris, who are you? Tell me about home inspections. Great. What do you do on nights and weekends? He's like, well, on nights and weekends, I'm a high school football referee. And he lit up. And he started talking to me about his team, his referees, and being on the field and calling his shots and the flags and all of this. And I went, dude, okay. So we took his passions of being a referee and combined them with what he does in home inspections, created his book called The Official Guide to Home Inspections by Chris Perry, America's Home Inspection Referee. I branded him and I said, Chris, from now on, when you go out on a home inspection or go to the realtor's offices to get business, I want you in your new uniform. I want you to have your whistle. And when you inspect a house and find something wrong, I want you to put a yellow flag on it. And so we branded him. Now, how many other home inspectors have any kind of branding like this? Do you think that now Chris has a unique message that is totally him? None of his competitors can fight that. And he was able to elevate his prices, has price elasticity because, well, I want America's Home Inspection Referee doing my house.
Yeah.
Okay. It's every business owner has something like that they're not using. You go to their websites and it's blah, 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 just like the next guy.
Yes.
Okay. Why do we wait until we meet somebody to start having common ground and having that conversation? So, okay, you got to like me. Why not do that on your website? Why not do that in the pages of your book where they're going to spend an hour or two with you, understanding how you go about home inspections or leadership or culture development, so that when you have that first appointment, they're already educated. They already know they want to work with you. They may have a few more questions, but they know that you're the person who's going to be able to help them because you precondition them to hire you. That is how we approach everything. So that's one of my favorite stories. I've got dozens of them, but that's one of them because I took his passions of who he is and I connected it to what he does, and it changed his business.
So this is what I love about small business. This is why I'm in the world. I have these triangles behind my head here.
Yeah.
Because, corporate America has a lot to offer the world. I just spent 20 years in corporate America. I led big teams. I got a bunch of patents. I did a bunch of stuff. It's got a lot to offer. However, it loses the heart. Corporate America squeezes the humanity out of the system. And, again, it's got up pluses, it's got minuses. Small businesses, this is where the heartbeat of America is. For those that don't know, small businesses make up half of the GDP of America every year. That's a lot of money, right? Half of them. 80% of those are owned by people between the ages of 55 and 65. So kind of the heritage of America, the folks that have grown up and it's time to pass that on. That's the small business. And they made it off of relationships. When you get into business networking, now we all go through the stage where we're like sticking our business card in people's shirt pockets like a mailbox. Like that's, once you realize, hey, that's not how business is done. You're building relationships with people. Half of the GDP of America is happening between humans. And you don't want to work with a corporate shell, right? We like to buy like our cheap t-shirts and our Pringles from the corporate box. I'm not going to say which blue colored corporate box I'm talking about, but we all kind of know that doesn't have a soul. But when it comes to buying our services we always want to buy from people.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important. And if you go, I have these two guys in my head. One is Ugg and one is Grug. They're cavemen and they're just trying to find antelope and berries for their family. That's all they're trying to do. And then there's two other guys, Thug and Slug. And so this is my caveman economics. Ugg and Grug are trying to protect their stuff from Thug and Slug. And if it doesn't make sense to Ugg and Grug, it doesn't make sense. And as soon as one of those, one of Ugg's kids started specializing, they're like, oh, that's Ugg's kid. He makes the spears, right? Yeah. And that's business in a nutshell. And corporate America, which owns a lot of the marketing, they want you to feel like marketing is this impersonal thing and we need to have a really cool brand that all the stuff you see on the Super Bowl commercials. But the truth of the matter is half of the business happening in America is between humans.
Yeah.
And humans like to give back to humans.
100%.
And I think that's so relaxing, encouraging, relieving when you say, I can be myself and people will like me for myself and celebrate me for my expertise. I think it's cool.
That's everything in business, Drew. And in my marketing for my company, if you hang around me at all, you're going to know I do a lot of video because this is how I communicate. Okay.
Yeah.
If you chop my arms off, I'm going to go mute. Okay.
And Italian.
This is just me. But a few years ago, Drew, I didn't do any video because I thought I had to show up like my audience wanted me to show up, and I needed a better studio, and I had to say a certain thing and and that kept me in a prison, and I just couldn't do it. And finally, one day, I don't know what happened, but I just said, you know what, on that, I'm going to show up as Michael. I'm going to be real and authentic. And if you like me, come on, we're going to have a great time. But if this offends you, please go away, because it ain't going to do none of us any good. And it's okay. You've got to be yourself. And what it does is it just lowers the barriers of just showing up and saying, Drew, how can I serve you? It makes my sales calls so much easier because I just show up going, tell me about your business and what are you trying to make happen? And let's talk and see if a book's even the right step for you. If it is, awesome, I can make that happen. If it's not, that's okay too, because I can connect you with other people. But let's find out what's going on and just chill, because I know that God's going to take care of me. And down the road, I'm going to get business. And if I tell you, Drew, hey, this is not the best step for you, you really need to go in a different direction. Here's somebody you should talk to. I just dropped a big deposit right there. And you're going to down the road either come back to me or you're going to connect with somebody else and say, hey, that DeLon guy, he's the real deal. You should just talk to him. And it's that law of reciprocity, but it's showing up authentic.
Yes.
Being you.
One of my favorite corporate survey tactics is they're like, what could we do to build trust with you? I'm like, not ask that question.
That's right. You have to, exactly. You have to ask that question. Something's wrong.
What can I do to make you trust me more? That is the worst question, right?
Yeah.
And so it's showing up. I remember one of my favorite moments in life, in corporate life, and I think it's such a good picture of who I am and who I think people want to be. I was on the way to work on a whim. I was like, you know what? I'm buying everybody ice cream sandwiches. We have a daily stand-up. So I just swung into Kroger's, pulled back out, and I had 4 boxes of ice cream sandwiches. Everybody's in the room. I'm like, hey guys, ice cream sandwiches. Not because they did anything special, because they're my team. I love them, right?
Yep.
And there was a new lady on the team, and she's fantastic, by the way, but she's new. She wasn't used to the culture. And she goes, oh, channeling your internal child, I see. And the question kind of, because it rubs up against this, well, we're supposed to be professionals here. We can't have ice cream sandwiches. And I said, actually, I channel my external adult most of the time. Like the core of who I am, the core of who we all want to be is this person that's enjoying life like a child, that's on the adventure, that's connecting with people authentically and having a good time.
Yeah.
People don't leave work because of the paycheck. They leave work because of the people, and the paycheck is kind of the excuse, right?
100%.
All right, but so let's get back to you. Books. Man, you got to write a book. You got to write a book for so many reasons. For me, the number one reason you got to write a book is it helps you tease out kind of that mess that's in your head. Now, it's not a bad mess. It's a good mess. As an expert, so I used to be in martial arts. And if you were like, well, what should I do in this fight? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know 1,000 strikes. I know 1,000 kicks. I know 1,000 joint locks. I can throw you on the ground. I can stand up. We can get a weapon. Like, I was an expert and I did pretty well. But if you were to ask me, what should I do? Now my sensei was a little different. The sensei would say, well, that guy is a lefty. He puts a little bit too much weight on his back foot. He likes to be static. So I want you to push hard, and then I want you to change direction. And that is the difference between an expert and an authority.
Yeah.
So talk to me. Why is it so important that people write a book?
So it's really good, Drew, because it brings clarity, like you said, not just to you. And when you have clarity, you have greater confidence to show up authentic, right? But it helps your audience understand the pathway you're going to take them down. It's kind of when people come to me to write a book, I say, hey, Drew, it's like you're walking into a dark room that you've never been in. You don't know where the light switch is. You don't know where all the furniture is. You're going to stumble. You're fearful. I get it. Walk with me. I've got the flashlight. I made the room, right? Let me give you an example. I work with a lot of financial advisors, and I had an advisor from Canada come to me. Lynn is her name. And her process, she had a process she worked everybody through, but it was all muddled. And
Right.
I
Yep.
started talking with her, and I said, okay, tell me all the things you do. She had 6 different steps. And I looked at them and I said, but you're helping people retire. Let's do this. So I took her process, I moved it around just a tad. I created the retire on purpose process. Her
Ooh.
process is RETIRE. That's 6 steps of her process that I didn't make up. I discovered through conversation. Now, when people say, hey, Lynn, what do you do? She doesn't say, well, I'm a financial advisor. I can help you, have lots of money. She says, I help you retire on purpose through my architectural process.
Yes.
And then they say, well, tell me more about that.
More.
And now she's in a conversation with a human. And she says, you know what, Drew, why don't you just take a copy of my book and read it? And I'll give you a call back and maybe we can get together in a couple of weeks to see how we can help you retire on purpose.
Yeah. And again, with that crazy trick, I'm going to prove to you I can help you by telling you exactly what you need to do.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. I love
because
it.
especially in this, but in coaching, in virtually any business, I tell my clients, I say, just give the farm away. Don't worry about somebody reading your book and doing it themselves, because 99% of them aren't going to do a thing. Because here's the deal, Drew. We don't need more information. We have Google. What we're looking for is a trusted guide who can take us where we want to go and answer the questions that we have about our situation.
So one of my favorite lines of all times, I used to be in research, right? And so in research, there's a lot of failure. You're kind of fiddling with stuff. You don't know how to do it. You're kind of figuring stuff out. So you can work a year or two. And I mean, Edison has a lot of broken light bulbs before he got to the light bulb.
That's right.
And my boss said, you know what the definition of an expert is? Somebody that's tried every wrong path. And so now they can do it right.
Yeah.
So, right. So fiddling through as you're writing your book, you probably know every wrong way to make a light bulb. And even like second, third order, you can't, if you do that, it doesn't show up until like 4 months down the road, but then you have to walk it back.
Yeah.
And that's what people want, but you have to find a way to explain that to them. And having a partner like you, like we all have a gifting. Another mentor of mine told me that we're all a 1-string guitar. Now we can play a symphony on a 1-string guitar, but we're playing it here, we're playing it here, we're playing it here, we're playing it here. We're all a 1-string guitar. And I think what you do so well is you help experts clarify what they're good at and then articulate.
Yeah. And being able to take that, what they're doing, helping them articulate it, not only for their audience, but for themselves, because they're going to show up totally different and they're going to have a process. Because part of creating a book, I mean, obviously you've got the stature now of being an author, which is amazing. It's how are you going to use that book to gain clients? And part of that process is nurturing your audience and putting your book in their hands, both electronically, in physical. I mean, we do audiobooks. We capture everything because we want you to be communicating your message so that when your audience is ready, you are the first one they think of and the one they feel the best about. Because every decision's an emotional decision first.
It is. It totally is. Yes.
And the thing I love about books also is kind of like when I was in Christian radio for so long. You listen to the radio, Drew, or Spotify or whatever by yourself most of the time.
Yeah.
Same thing with a book. You read a book usually by yourself. And so it's me and you having a conversation through the pages of my book, and you're bonding and connecting with me and your head's nodding. You're going, I like this guy. That moves you one step closer to scheduling that appointment. That's what we're all about, helping you do that in your business.
I love it. All right. Devil's advocate time. We live in a world of AI.
Yeah.
I personally fiddle with AI. I mean, I actually have 2 AIs running all the time. I'll spin this one off on this project. I'll spin this one off on this project. I got a file for a book that I'm fiddling with. But I can tell you, AI is a yes man. Now, in corporate America, I used to say, I'm not a yes man. Boss says no, I'm saying no too.
That's right. I love it.
And that's AI in a nutshell. You're like, hey, what do you think of this idea? You're onto an amazing insight.
Don't you love the answers they give you?
Yeah. And now it is helpful. It has helped me tease out
Oh yeah.
a lot of times. Like I'll be like, I want to say this idea, and these are kind of the surrounding ideas, and I'll fiddle with it.
Hmm.
And it gets me to do maybe a good one-liner. But a
Yeah.
one-liner and the 4,000 extra words that turn that one-liner into a book, that's a big gap. Actually, maybe more like 30,000 words to make it a book, right?
Yeah.
So why is AI not the right tool to help you write a book? What's going to happen if I use AI versus if I start working with a professional?
Yeah. Now, so many things. So we don't, number one, we don't use any AI in our book writing process. We are all HI, right? Human intelligence. We have real
HI.
people.
I'm stealing that, by the way. That's
There you go.
fantastic.
You can have that.
Yes. I love that.
So the challenge with AI today is that if it flattens your voice, right? Even if
Yes.
you have one that just is only looking at your stuff, it is really hard to get it to be your voice. AI can be good for short form things, right?
Yep.
Blog posts, social media posts, some emails. You still, I think AI using that, it's going to get you about 80 to 90% of the way.
Mhm.
You still need to go and make sure that it hasn't done something really dumb
Mhm.
and that it sounds like you. We've tested it in long form book processes, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't work. And the
Mhm.
other thing that AI won't do, if you're creating your book with AI, Drew, what's not going to happen is you're not going to have those, hey, timeout. Tell me more about that moments
Mm.
from my writer who's not an expert at what you do. You're an
Yeah.
expert. You're training your AI to be an expert, but your audience isn't an expert and they're asking questions or they don't understand something you just said. You're just going to fly past that.
Yeah.
And so you're going to miss the human element of your book. It'll be a book. It just won't be you as much as when you're working with a human to make it happen. That's what we have found.
Yeah. No, there's I love this phrase. A friend of mine told me to early in my coaching career is that we can't see the label from inside the bottle. So
Absolutely.
when you're the expert, you're like, I'm stuck. And there's a little bit of irony if you're claiming to be an expert and somebody needs to pay you a high ticket, and then you say, but I'm not going to pay an expert
Right. Isn't it weird?
to go write my book and help me clarify.
Yeah.
The truth is, we're all experts in this like little niche. Again, the one guitar string that we play.
That's right.
And when you find something that can help you see from the outside of the bottle, you're like, oh,
Oh.
that's what people buy from me. I thought people bought engineering from me. No, they buy trust from you. They
Yeah.
buy confidence from you. Whatever they buy from you. You can't see the label when you're inside the bottle.
That's right.
All right. So we've talked about books. We've talked about AI is not really the answer. You need somebody that's an expert at this. We've talked how important it is to articulate your framework to your clients. And I've lost my camera again.
All right. Hey, you know what? Maybe you need to stick one of your AI agents on that thing, get that fixed. Yeah, it's all of that, because the other thing about AI, you can spend time and have AI spit out a book in an hour, let's say, right? You're still going to invest time reading through that, making changes. And I would beg to say you're going to have more than 24 hours in that when you do it right, because you still have to get it right. You're still going to have to get it edited. You're still going to have it proofread, formatted, designed. There is so much more than just, I got AI to get my book. Yippee skippy. That is not the end of the day. All right. There is so much to produce a professional book that's going to connect with your audience. So what we have found, Drew, over the last year or so, the business owners who want to write with AI are not my client.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Go write with AI, and I hope it works wonderfully for you. My clients understand the value of having an expert create their book, position them in the mind of their audience, and teach them how to use that book to grow their business year after year after year after year after year. Your book pays for itself when you have it done correctly.
All right. This is perfect. This is what I wanted to pull out of the show. I think that we all have bought into the idea that the business card is kind of out the window. The website is no longer, the funnel is not the thing. The book is really kind of your new business card. In a world in which we can get as much information as you possibly could imagine, what we want to know is not, do you have a consultancy, is do you have a process? Can I trust you to knock this out for me? So you kind of have to have a book, but having a book is just like having a business card. You got to know how to use it, right? You can't just whip the business card out and be like, this is going to give me some business. No, you got to know how to use it. And this is something else cool that you do. You start with a marketing background, and then you help people articulate clearly what their frameworks is and their expertise is through the book. but that's not what folks are paying for. It's how you use the book. So talk to me really quickly about your process. Once I have a book, what's going to it's going to sit dusty on my shelf in a box with 17 other books that I bought, or it's going to change my business. What is the difference there?
Yeah. The difference is, I'm going back to your triangles because I use a triangle as well. Going back to Dan Kennedy, right? My triangle starts with message. Then we add media, which is best-selling book, audiobook, podcast, videos. Then the third leg is marketing. You put those three together, that's how you get growth in your business. So you have a book, right? When Lynn came to me, right? Remember her? Retire on Purpose. She got her book done, and she's got a good financial planning firm. And she's like, okay, Michael, what do I do with this thing? I said, Lynn, do you have a database of like emails and things like that? She's like, well, yeah, about 800 people. I'm like, awesome. Here's what I want. I want you to send an email out to all of them. Here's the subject line. Don't buy my book. They open it up and it says, I want to give you a free copy of my new Amazon best-selling book. If you like it, let me know. I'll mail it to you absolutely free. She had 80 people respond to that email, say, yeah, I'll take a copy of it. She mailed physically in the mail, right? 80 copies out to those people. Within 60 days, she had 8 of those people come in and say, you know what? We've been thinking about this. We read your book. Let's start doing business. She paid for her book, right? What she paid for it in 60 days, going out to the people who already knew her, but they had their head in the sand. They were procrastinating. And what they did is they read the book and something triggered them. They're like, you know, it's time. I'm done waiting. Let's go. And they did it. One simple strategy. And she said, Michael, that works so well. The rest is gravy now. I'm going to do that again. So she lives in an affluent neighborhood. She's like, I'm going to mail a copy of my book to all of my neighbors. And I think, Lynn, that's brilliant. So think about marketing. We all think about Facebook and LinkedIn and buying ads. And how about putting a copy of your book in somebody's hand? Somebody who has already been with you at some level, and letting them go, yes, it's time. One strategy, right? Yes, your book needs to be on your website. I'm a big fan of putting your book on your website as a free download. You are not going to get rich selling your book on Amazon. Okay?
Right.
You're not Stephen or anybody like that.
That is not the metric. That is correct.
The metric is, all right, here's the bane of my existence, okay? If there's any pet peeve I have, this is it. I go to a website, and I don't care what industry, dead center, prime real estate, schedule a call with me. I am not ready to schedule a call with you. You know, research, Drew, most recent research I've seen is 78% of the people who are doing research make a buying decision of who they're going to hire before they schedule the appointment with that person.
It's true.
Your audience, they're researching you. When they hit your website, that is a long research brochure. Yes, there should be a place to schedule a call, but not in the center of that real estate. How about get a free copy of my book? Take a free course that I developed. Download my white paper on whatever their problem is. Get them into the funnel, but get them educated so that when they're ready, you are the person who you're providing so much value to them. Yes, you're asking for a call or something, but you're doing it more subtly than the other guys. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to feel like I'm going to show up and you're going to twist my arm and not stop my Zoom call until I buy something. That's not trust.
Right. If I was going to go into that sort of high pressure situation, I should at least get a free vacation, right?
Absolutely. You know, a free boat for the time sale show or whatever. So
no, 100%.
It's going to networking events. If that's what you're doing, great. How about taking copies of your book? You know, I started in BNI. That's where I launched my company. You know, the first place when I got this idea for creating a book without writing a word, I'm like, where do business owners gather? Well, back then it was BNI groups. So I remember going to them and I would carry books with me. And people would say, well, that was really cool. I'm like, great, take a copy of my book and let's talk next week.
Yeah.
It was amazing because you know what? Nobody does this. So,
well, and you know, the other thing is, you have the folks that you're friends with them. They have the problem that you solve. They probably should buy your service. They can afford your service. But then they're like, hey, can I grab coffee with you and just pick your brain on this topic? You just hand them your book. Be like, I would love to, but hey, it's all right here in the book. Like,
that's right.
And so it's a great, you're not shuffling people off, but you're just kind of saying, listen, if you really want to solve your problem, I've already solved it for you.
That's
And
right.
here's the, like, I used to, when I was in my early 20s, I was like, oh, I should get mentors. And so everybody that I thought was interesting, I would invite them out for coffee. And
Yep.
then, I got married and I got a little bit more money and I put money in the budget. And I was like, I can buy people lunch, I can buy people coffee. And then I had this epiphany. The greatest minds of our time and before our time, for $20, which is cheaper than buying somebody lunch, by the way,
Yeah.
I can find out their best thoughts in an
Yeah.
organized fashion if I'll just buy their book and read their book.
100%.
And so I bought an Audible subscription and I started with 1 book a month. I got up to 5 books a month at one point. So I'm in the gym benching to behavioral economics. I'm, cycling and learning about Freakonomics.
Yeah.
I'm doing psychology, right? So we as humans, we look at other humans and we're like, hey, can I get this from you for free in a kind of blobby sort of a way?
Yeah.
Or you can just say, hey, here's my book. It's going to solve your problems. If you'd like to have a business conversation, I would really love to help you solve your problems. But I've given you a solution or I've got a solution for you. And I want you to be a success.
Awesome. Let me piggyback on that one.
Do it.
You take those guys out to lunch. You take your notes. You leave that lunch. How much of that are you actually going to retain over the next week, month? Yeah, right?
One idea, maybe less.
Hey, you want to go out to lunch again? No. You buy a book in your thing or an audiobook. Are those books on your bookshelf back there?
Oh, yeah.
You keep a book? You can go back and reread a book, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Here's the deal. What we have to understand in business is less than 3% of your audience is in the market today for what you offer. If you are focusing all of your efforts on the today buyer, you are leaving so much money on the table. That's why putting your book in the hand of your prospect, it will help convert part of that 3%, but it will nurture and nudge the 97% who are going to be ready in a week, a month, a year.
Yep, totally. 100%. And again, if you want to change the world, and if you're not in this game, the coaching, the consulting game, to truly change the world. Now, it might be just change the world with your clients, but if you're not in here to change the world, to make Toyota more efficient, to make cultures more smooth, to make marketing make more sense, to get the right people out there. If you're not in the game to change the world, maybe you're in the wrong game. There's plenty of corporate jobs for you to go get.
Yeah.
So since we know you're in the game to change the world, the best way to change the world is to write it down. You got to write it down.
Absolutely. And in changing the world, I love what you were saying there, because so many times we think, I'm going to make a massive impact on the world and change the world. I want 1%. Okay. Just 1% change. If you're in New York City, you hop on an airplane and you're heading toward LA. If that pilot is 1 degree off, he ends up in like San Francisco. 1 degree. 1% is all you need to be different, because you got a uniqueness about you. And when you make a difference in one person's life, that ripple effect. I mean, I'm serious. You focus on making small improvements in people's lives and it ripples effect, and you are going to make a huge impact because you're crystal clear on your message and what you do and how you can serve people. And you are as consistent, and you repeat that over and over and over and over, because your audience needs to hear it about 1,000 times.
Oh, my favorite. And I say that anybody that knows me has heard me say this before. I was about 13. My grandpa owned a veterinary clinic. He was in his late 70s, and he came to me and he said, Drew, you got to tell them 4 times that their dog needs a rabies shot before they come and ask you if you've ever heard of a rabies shot. And I'm a 13-year-old. I'm like, what do you even do with that? Thanks, Grandpa. I appreciate that. But as I've grown, holy cow, we as leaders, we as experts, we're like, well, I told them, I gave the presentation at the chamber luncheon. I don't understand why they don't. Well, the reason is you haven't told them 4 times.
That's right.
They haven't even heard you until you've said it 4 times. And the book is a great way to do that. The other thing the book does is you think about the difficulty of putting together a media campaign, of a social media campaign, of posts, of links, of emails. You're just chopping pieces out of your book and you're sending it out.
So, Drew, my book on marketing, I've got 31 chapters in it.
Right.
Okay. That's 31 emails minimum. That's 31 social media posts. That's 31. And I'm sure I could write more than 1 email on every chapter. So there's a year's worth, if I wanted to, that's all compelling, all about my message. And the call to action is normally, hey, just get a free copy of my book. Go to paperbackexpert.com/onmarketing. Get a free copy of my book. Dive in deep. And when the time's right, schedule a call and let's see how we can help you.
100%.
It
100%.
takes all the effort out of, wow, what am I going to post this week?
Your book.
Going back to coaching real quick, because I know
Yeah,
you do a lot of coaching and things. How about when you go into an engagement, let's say it's at Toyota, wherever it is, you work it out so everybody you're coaching gets a signed copy of your book, so that when you're done speaking, they're going to keep you with them and revisit it. And then maybe you come back and say, hey, you know what? Let's now do an online book study of my book. It's going to capitalize on what we taught, but it's going to be over the next 13 weeks. That's all. That's kind of a freebie that I do for my clients, because I really want what I share with your audience to stick. This is how I do it. Now, is that a different offer?
Yeah.
Because you're there to serve them and help them, and they're going to see it, and they're going to say, I like this guy. He's bringing more value to the table. Let's try him. Boom. Now it's just little things. Is that marketing? 100%.
Yeah. But if you as a human are an authentic human who has the talent that can actually change the situation for the person you're talking to, marketing is not, I think we get taught, like I have a bunch of great marketing books. I love Hermosi. I love Brunson. I love Kern. I even love, like, you go back to Carlton Sheets and Kiyosaki. I love all those guys. But I think that we got so focused on funnels and the process and the follow-up, which are technically the important elements in marketing, that we forgot our job is to change the world. And this is where I think Zig Ziglar is the best. He says, listen, nothing changes in the world unless the salesman is out there selling. The salesman is the one that moves the world forward. They're the ones that discover the problems, or the one that solves the problems. And when you fall in love with solving people's problems, then marketing is just like, you can't wait to share your message, because you're like, I have a solution for you and I want you to have it. And I want you to have it as the cheapest possible price tag, because it's going to blow your mind. And then the activity of marketing, which is doing the book clubs, telling people the books, sending the nurture emails, that's just, it flows out of a place of love, because I want you to succeed.
Yeah, that's right. And it doesn't feel salesy, because I believe that what I do is so impactful. And Drew, we didn't even get to it, but on my program, when somebody talks to me about their books, I believe in this so much. I back it up with a 2-year money-back guarantee. Okay, I'm putting my name and reputation and money on the line, because I know it's going to bring you business. Okay, and when I share that with people, they go, really? Nobody does that. It's like, I do, because I don't want you to be unhappy, and I'm committing myself to make sure this works for you. Come on, I know this works.
Yes, I love it. Well, listen, I love doing the show. I love the energy you have. I love the mission you have. I love the person that you are. You're a man of God in your community. You run your family well. You bless all of your clients. We're closing the show down here. You got 2 minutes. I just want you to speak to the audience. Leave us with something to really take home.
Yeah, thank you. I think the number one thing is be yourself. Okay, in all that you do, show up authentically. That's going to attract people to you the right way. But take your content that's in your head and communicate it. Whether you work with us at Paperback Expert to create your book, or whether you want to do it yourself, great. Speak to write your book. Use Google Docs or something. Get the content out of your head onto paper. Get it crafted. You're going to have a book. You got to use your book in marketing. Be authentic. Give the book away. Educate your audience. Build a process that makes sense. Look at what all of your competitors are doing and do the opposite, okay? Because it's a sea of sameness out there. You are different. You have something of value to offer. Stop trying to be like everybody else. Be like yourself. Change the game. Write a book. Is going to change how people think about you, because they're going to say, he or she, they're the one who wrote the book on it. They're going to grab it. They're going to read it. They're going to schedule a time with you, and they're going to realize the person who wrote the book is the person I'm talking with right now. And that builds trust. It's going to change everything. It's going to help you make a bigger impact in the world.
I love it. Listen, in a world of AI, you need to stand out. And the only way to stand out is to actually provide the value that you said you can provide. Writing a book is the best way to do it. And Michael DeLon is the best guy to help you with that project. I know him personally. He's a friend. We're developing that relationship even further. We've been connected for quite a while now. Reach out to him. I put the links in the comments. Reach out to him. Tell him you saw him on the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. Ask him, how do I go from being just the expert to being the authority in my category? And that's not just if you're a coach. Listen, that's if you're a roofer, if you're a service provider, if you're a machinist, you got a factory, you're in politics, you need a book, because the world is full of noise, and it's only going to get worse as the AI trust cliff happens and we stop being able to believe what we see on all of the marketing funnels.
Yeah.
Life is going to come back to one-on-one human connection, and a book is the best way for you to deeply provide value to those that you love and that you were designed to serve. And Michael's going to help you clarify that. So tell him you saw him on the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. And with that, he's got a special gift for you. We didn't get time in the show to talk about the credibility calculator. It's in the comments as well, credibilitycalculator.com. Tell him you saw him on the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. And with that, we are out.